And everybody, hello, hello. Welcome in. Give us a wave. Feel free to turn on your cameras. Hello, Julie. Lovely to see you. Hey, Alex, I'm going to make you a co-host so you can admit people. Welcome in, you guys. So nice to see everybody here. We're going to wait 30 seconds and then we'll get started. But in the meantime, if everybody, I'm going to light up that chat box. If you could just tell us, where are you tuning in from? So pop in the chat. Are you somewhere in Canada? Tell us where. Are you in the US? We want to know, where are you tuning in from? Tyler from Calgary, welcome. Hey, Carrie from Alora. Rebecca, Indianapolis. This is awesome. Who else is here? Michelle, welcome, Michelle. Guelph, Ontario. Snowy Montreal. It is so snowy. I was just at our Remembrance Day ceremony here, and hence why my cheeks are red. It was a full-blown snowstorm. Becky, nice to see you from Saugeen Shores. Guelph. We got New York City, one of my favorite places outside of New York. All right, awesome. We've got people far and wide. And before we get in today, scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you? I was going to go a different direction, but I want to know, how excited are you to learn about this topic of ranking on ChatGPT? AI optimization, GEO, sometimes it's called. One being like, I'm not that excited, but I am here. 10 being, I'm excited, I see the opportunity, I'm pumped. Give me anything in between. Okay, a lot of people are 10. I feel like that's not the question I actually wanted to ask because I have a feeling we're not like buzzing with excitement to dig into AI and geek out on it necessarily, but we definitely see the opportunity, and that's the exciting part about it. So, my goal is always to bring the fun and the joy to marketing strategy because I don't think we should have to suffer through marketing. I don't think we should have to feel scatterbrained and feel overwhelmed, because at the end of the day, there are some simple principles that can really help us to get more visible and to have the business of our dreams that has clients and customers finding us and discovering us without feeling like we have to do it all and, overwhelm ourselves with all the things we have to do. So let's do it. Welcome in, you guys. If you want to grab a pen and paper, some notes, whatever you want to take, we are going to dive right in. So I will share my slides. Feel free to use the chat box because I will check in on it. I will make sure I answer all your questions as we go. And then there's lots of time slotted at the end for Q&A. So if you have questions towards the end of the call, we also have at least 20 minutes for me to kind of do some live workshopping with you guys and make sure everybody gets their questions answered. All right, so let me just click a couple buttons here. Share screen one. Okay. And once I get this up, if you guys could give me a thumbs up if you can see my full-size slides. Awesome. Always have to double check that I'm not sharing some weird tab that I have open. Maybe my personal ChatGPT thread or Claude thread that I have going with all the secret stuff. All right. So here we go. Let's dive in. So we're talking about how to rank on ChatGPT. And I just have to caveat this whole session with saying nobody is an expert on this topic. It literally is changing every day. And so we are all learning together. I have spent the better part of the last 4 months really digging into this so that I can best support you. However, things are shifting really, really fast. We actually just heard that ChatGPT is probably launching paid ads in the new year. And I was listening to a podcast the other day. I actually shared this on Instagram where it basically said, like, we should all be worried. The fact that we've been having conversations with AI search engines, we've told them, these are my deep, dark problems. This is what I want in life, but I'm not getting it. And then imagine now they have all that data on us and can start targeting us with ads. But this is where we're going, right? So right now we're still at these early stages where ranking on AI search engines like ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, Perplexity, Grok, it's organic, right? It's kind of may the best person win, the person who has the best content, who meets the intent of the user. That person is being pulled and being shared in the answers. But there are many things we can do to increase the likelihood that we show up. So we're really, really excited about that. Many of you have probably taken my everyday SEO course, search engine optimization on how to rank on Google. The good news is that SEO and ranking on AI search engines, also called AIO or GEO, they're very similar, right? If you've done a lot of work with search engine optimization, it's likely that you're doing really well with AI engine.
So what do I do with this?
Oh, I'm just going to mute a couple of you. We're hearing your private conversations. So yeah, there's tons of crossover. AI search engine and visibility on AI search engines is the result of everything else that you're doing. So you're not necessarily going to prioritize ChatGPT as a marketing channel. You're going to make sure you have all the touch points necessary that feed into ChatGPT mentioning you when a user could benefit from your services. So, what I mean by that is that all is not lost. All of the work you've done up until this point, whether it was with search engine optimization, being on social media, writing a blog, getting reviews on Google, it all matters and it's all setting you ahead versus someone who is brand new to the internet and their business is barely known at any of these popular channels. Okay, so let's get into it. So I always like to show this image because, when I ask you the question, which house would you rather live in? And maybe some of you love living in rustic places, the falling apart shack, but I think a lot of you are looking at that nice mansion, perched in the jungle, gorgeous walkout patio. A lot of you want to live in that house. And when I really think about the businesses that we're building, and the marketing strategies and the structures that we've built into our businesses, we really want to make sure that we're comparing it to that big, solid, gorgeous house that's been built out. It feels very solid. There's a gorgeous foundation in there. There's room to expand, and the foundation has been set, and you can continue to grow and add on expansions. When we build a business, we want to make sure that we have that solid foundation of a marketing strategy so that we can continue to expand our reach, grow our impact. And when we don't have a solid marketing foundation, oftentimes we feel like things are just crumbling every day. Don't know where the next lead is going to come from, not really sure where to prioritize my efforts. So everything that I hope to teach you today is built on very sound advice, not chasing trends, not practicing any fix this quick strategies, but really rooted in the principles of marketing, things that have worked since the dawn of time that really build you a strong foundation for your business. Okay, so I always want to just remind you guys that things are changing so quickly right now. Marketing in general is evolving every single day. And even if we're to rewind to just 12 months ago, which, in marketing years is like a decade, but 12 months ago, on my intake form, when people had to fill out, where did you hear about my business or where did you hear about my consulting services? I didn't even have ChatGPT or an AI search engine option for them to click. It just wasn't really a thing. I did not see people discovering the business that way. And then about 10 months ago, I started to chat with clients. Where did you find me? And they're like, actually, I found you on ChatGPT. And I realized how quickly things were changing and that I needed to really prioritize this in my own learning to be able to teach my clients how to do this. And I needed to start tracking like how many people are coming from ChatGPT. And we can see this data in the back end of our website, which is so cool. All of you can do this. So I actually added in a slot. So I like to just attribute every new client or every new lead to at least one marketing channel. Like, what am I doing that is allowing people to discover the business? And I'm sure you guys do this too. And so I added ChatGPT. And I would say over the last 10 months, that has been steadily growing, started around 5% of all of my business leads. And now it's up to about 15, maybe upwards of 20% and growing. Still, I get tons of leads from Google, still tons of referral and word of mouth. But I think the opportunity that is sitting in front of us right now is the fact that more and more people are spending time and entrusting in their AI search engines to give them answers. And so when we really ask ourselves, what is the opportunity and do I need to pay attention to this topic? It's like, wait, if my clients and customers are spending lots of their time chatting with ChatGPT or whatever they call it, Chat Daddy, do I want to make sure that my business is recommended by ChatGPT? Absolutely, right? Most of us are like, wow, this is a huge opportunity. And that's what we're going to cover today. So, for the first time in many years, I think someone's not muted, but maybe we can just go through. Awesome. For the first time in many years, Google and other traditional search engines are losing their dominant market share. And really, this is coming down to the fact that our behavior as humans is shifting, right? Sometimes we are opening up Google, and other times right now, we are opening up ChatGPT, and that percentage is really starting to be in flux. So I want to remind everybody that our job as marketers, so maybe you're here because you wear all the hats in your business. Maybe you're here because you are the person that does marketing for the company or for your brand. Our job is simply to identify where is the attention right now. Attention is always changing, right? The attention 15, 20 years ago was on the television. That's where marketing worked really well in advertising. It was in the newspaper. It was maybe more in the early phases of the internet when people had the first health blog or the first recipe blog. Now, attention is really fractured, right? People are on TikTok and then they flip over to Instagram and then they open their inbox and then they go to a website and then they go to a networking event and then they see a billboard and they have a flyer in their mailbox. So attention is certainly fractured, but that doesn't mean that we give up. Doesn't mean that the opportunities still aren't there for us. It is simply our role now to figure out how can we shift our marketing strategy and evolve it so that it is showing up where the attention of our dream clients currently is. Okay. I haven't exactly introduced myself yet, but I always like to just dive right into the topic because I know that's what you guys came for. But I'll give a quick background on who I am because I know there's some new faces here. Some of you met me last week at the Practice Better Summit. Some of you are either clients of mine or inside of our Wave Mastermind membership. And some of you, you came from somewhere on the internet. I posted about this in a few places. So I've been working as a digital marketing consultant for almost 10 years now, and then also had a freelance business before that. I found myself in this industry after I decided to leave the corporate world, just because I didn't like the hierarchy of having to have so many people approve of all these campaigns. And I wanted to get to the heart of working with small businesses, working with decision makers like you guys, who, when you have a vision or an idea or a goal, you're able to act quick and we can find the marketing channels to get you there. I have a podcast. It's called Visionary Life. We've interviewed over 350 entrepreneurs, lots of solo episodes in there. So you can find that if you want to learn more and just get to know me and my clients better. And a few photos here that describe me. So I am a mama to, now this is an old photo. He was 1 at the time. Now he's 2. So I spend a lot of my time being a mama, spend a lot of my time on my mountain bike and doing a lot of baking as well. And my favorite 5 words are, oops, hello, who's that? Welcome in. My favorite 5 words are, I found you on Google, but now those have also shifted into my other favorite 5 words.
What you can do is you can call me after your appointment.
Hello. Sorry, Kayla, we're gonna mute you. Other favorite 5 words are, I found you on ChatGPT. So these are things I love to talk about. So if you feel free to connect with me after, and I'm happy to jam on any of those things. All right, so I know I asked you how excited you are for this topic, but I want to know now what your confidence level is in terms of, do you feel like you have a search engine optimization strategy or an AI optimization strategy? So 0 being, I don't even think I have anything in place. 10 being I'm so confident that I have a lot in place. Try not to use the number 7 because that's what we default to when we're like, yeah, I kind of have it. You're either a 6 or an 8. So let's see in the chat, what's your confidence level? Okay, so we've got a 1, a -1, says Sonia, a big fat 0, says Christine. Rachel, you're a 5. Michael, you're a 2. Okay, so a little lower. Rebecca, you're at a 7. Awesome. A 6.6, says Philip. See, people know that I don't like the number 7, but you can use a decimal point. 6.9 always works in my world. Okay, Angela's at a 1, Jennifer's at a 3. Okay, so yeah, we've got quite a variety here, but I'd say most of you are probably feeling like, yeah, I have a couple things set up. Maybe you invested in someone to build out your site, but you're just not sure if it's all working in your favor. And maybe you have not seen clients start to come as a result of ChatGPT or other AI engines, but you would like them to. You're like, I have space. Where are all the people? Chat Daddy, send the money my way. So we're going to get you there today. Okay, so let's start with, and I know I'm going to talk really fast. I just have so much I want to cover with you guys today. And yeah, feel free to ask me questions or to expand on anything that I talk about. So how does an AI search engine actually work? So this is just a graphic to illustrate how ChatGPT in particular works, but I do want to share that each of the AI engines, so ChatGPT versus Claude versus Grok, they all pull from different varieties of sources and they evaluate them differently, if that makes sense. So Grok is Elon Musk's version of ChatGPT. And as we know, Elon owns Twitter or X. So Grok really favors the conversations that are happening on Twitter, which I think is really, really cool because it's a lot of honest thoughts, people's feedback, like, oh, I read this book and I hated it, but it's in a very casual tone. So Grok really favors that. Whereas when we think about something like ChatGPT, ChatGPT actually really favors Reddit. And I was doing a training yesterday, and a couple of the women on the training were like, I've never even used Reddit. Like, I'm shocked to hear this. And I feel the same way. I'm not a Reddit person. But there is prioritization to if there's conversations about your product and service, reviews on Reddit, that's really, really valuable with ChatGPT. So, how AI search engines work is they're simply looking at all of your touch points on the internet. Okay. So your website, it's looking at your homepage. What does it say about you? Oh, you're a lawyer in Canada. Okay, that's good. That we need to teach ChatGPT that. Maybe you have an Instagram account, it says you're a lawyer in Canada or a small business lawyer. That's really good. It signals to them. Maybe you're constantly giving advice on Reddit as a small business lawyer in Canada. That's really, really good. You've got Google reviews, and it's like, I worked with, Jane Smith, who's a small business lawyer in Canada, and she saved me so much money in taxes. She protected my business and is a legal dream to work with. That's really, really good. So it's pulling from all of the different data points. So when we think about, well, what do we need to do to rank on AI search engines? We actually need to make sure all of these touch points are activated. And the thing that nobody wants to hear me say is that with an AI search strategy, more touch points is better. So if you don't have any social media right now, if you don't have any Google reviews, if you don't have any website presence of your own, you're probably not getting any leads from ChatGPT because it doesn't know who you are. There's not enough trustworthy, authoritative sources that tell us what you do. So we'll get into how we can remedy that shortly, but I just wanted to share this little snapshot of how an AI engine works. It's pulling from all of the other digital touch points that you have established. So by prioritizing your other marketing channels, you actually do start to rank better on ChatGPT, but doing it strategically, which is the big takeaway today. We don't need digital slop all over the internet. We need strategic content that helps you to show up for AI searches. Okay, click through here. So I think most of you kind of, even just by being a user of these engines, Google versus ChatGPT, or whichever traditional search engine you use and whichever AI engine you use, we can start to identify, yeah, there is a difference. There's a lot of crossover. So when you work on one, it helps the other, but fundamentally, they are different. So Google or traditional search engines like Yahoo, Bing, DuckDuckGo, what they're doing is matching keywords and phrases to content that's on the internet. So Google is basically scraping your website. It's like, oh, you're a wedding photographer in Toronto. We're going to index you for wedding photographer Toronto. And as you build out more blogs that are like top 5 wedding venues in Toronto and 3 wedding vendors you can't miss if you're having a wedding vendor in Toronto, it's starting to say, okay, we like this person for those keywords. And then the more content you build out, the more Google puts you up to page 1 of their organic search results. And then when somebody searches Toronto wedding photographer, they can actually scroll through all of these indexed results, but then they have to click to your website. So a little bit of friction for the user, right? Because they have to dig on page 1, maybe go to page 2, and then they have to actually click the results. Maybe they didn't like it, so they bounce back. So that's just what we're used to. That's how search engines have operated for many, many years now. LLMs, large language models, aka ChatGPT. I just feel like there's too many words for this. Um, but ChatGPT and its peers, what it's doing is it's having conversations with you, and you're typing into it, but it's understanding the context, the intent, it's taking past data that it knows about you, and it's delivering a comprehensive response or a synthesized output based on everything it sees on the internet. So it actually functions a little bit different because it's going to give you a custom answer, and there's no place for the user to click out. So ChatGPT is not always sending people to your website as its goal. It wants to give you the answer right in the search engine. It wants to ask you clarifying questions. It wants to get more context from you. What type of wedding photographer are you looking for? Okay, what's your budget? And then I tell it my budget's 5,000. So now ChatGPT is scouring which wedding photographer has their prices visible on their website. Because I only want to give, the person who's using ChatGPT an answer of a wedding photographer at $5,000. So as we start to think about that, we go, oh, I actually need to give the internet as much context as I can to satisfy the intent of the person searching because they want to know the price. They give their budget. They'll tell you when their wedding is. They tell you, I want somebody who edits in a bright and airy style. I want someone who's shot at my venue before. So there's a lot more happening before the result is given. The cool part about it is that once a recommendation is made, oftentimes the person using ChatGPT deeply trusts that that's the right fit for them because they've spilled the beans. They're like, here's everything you need to know. Give me the best recommendation. And then when a recommendation is made, we know that the likelihood of that person converting is much higher than if they just do a simple Google search, end up on your website, and then just end up clicking off. So, just a quick overview. Okay, I'm going to break up the monotony of me talking and we're going to play a little game of this or that to explore your own search behavior. Because I think it's always good to do self-reflection in marketing because a lot of your patterns are how you need to be thinking strategically about marketing. So I'll share a couple slides and you're just going to tell me, would I use Google for this or would I use ChatGPT for this? And you're going to type it in the chat. And there's no right or wrong answer. If you legitimately use Google over ChatGPT, say it, or the other way around, let me know. And if I had played this game 1 to 2 years ago, let's say 2 years ago, almost every answer would have been Google. But now things have kind of shifted. Okay. So let's go with some quick answers. You need a coffee shop near me. Are you asking Google or ChatGPT? Google, 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 a lot of Google. Okay, couple people on chat. Awesome. Google Maps. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, so that is a search where Google still dominates, especially with the localized services. You're about town, you want to see the listing for a business. Okay, what about if you want the best plumber? You want to find a service provider for your home. Are you using Google or ChatGPT? A lot of Google, a couple chat. Okay, still predominantly Google. Friends, yeah, there's a good one too. Yeah, or a local Facebook group. Yeah, you know what? This is, I should add an other category because that's legitimate too. So yeah, a lot of you are still using Google for local listings, but again, that is definitely shifting. Okay, round two. You need Instagram Reels hooks, like the opening line. So you need creative content ideas for your social media marketing. Are you using Google or ChatGPT? Okay, almost everybody right now. Yeah, Gemini, ChatGPT, a large latte. I love that. Get the caffeine and then talk to chat. So for research and product recommendations, sometimes when it's like, I have this problem and I just need, some customized solutions to it, a lot of ChatGPT, especially for creative brainstorming, looking for detailed suggestions. Okay, I'm looking for car snacks for toddlers. You want specific product recommendations for long family road trips. Google, ChatGPT. Pinterest, yeah. Grocery store. You guys are proving to me that we all are not living in this digital exclusive era. Some of us still want to walk around the grocery store and ask our friends. I love it. Okay. And yeah, maybe you've already input a lot about your family. My toddler's gluten-free. My son can't have dairy and is on a no sugar diet. So maybe ChatGPT would actually help you out on that. Okay, let's do one more for complex decision making. So you're reading reviews of 3 similar resorts to make a booking decision for your summer vacation. And you just want to know, which one are we going to have the most fun at? What's the budget? Does it fit the needs and desires of my family? Okay, we got a little bit of a mix here. I love it. Google, chat. Ginny says Google. Awesome. Tova, you say chat. Red tag. Yeah. This is like a lesson in what platforms exist that people are paying attention to right now. Okay, so yeah, a lot of you are looking to Google then for looking for reviews. And then maybe you actually input the top 3 that you find from the Google search into ChatGPT. So sometimes there's this hybrid approach, which I find really cool. And finally, what is the best Mexican restaurant in Toronto that is wheelchair accessible and has room for large groups? Google or ChatGPT? Yep, a little bit of a mixture here. So the more complex the criteria gets, I find that the more likely people are to use ChatGPT because they can literally grab their talk to chat app and then like verbally, say 48 words and 12 sentences of like, I need this, blah, blah, blah. What's the best recommendation? And so complex decision making is often moving over to ChatGPT. Okay, thanks for having fun with me. So I think through all that, the pattern's pretty obvious that the more complex and nuanced the need, the more likely people are going to choose an AI search engine to divulge what they need, what they want, and to ask for the best of something. Or what do you recommend to me? I was sitting on a panel about a month ago with a girl, and she was so clear that you need to spend 3 hours a day talking with ChatGPT. Like literally just go on walks with your dog and be like, this is what I think, this is what I do, this is who I love. Like it's a diary. And she said, 3 hours a day if you want to be ahead of the curve. And so when it came time to plan her and her husband's 10th wedding anniversary, she wanted to do like a really special trip for them. So she basically just said to chat, based on what you know about me and based on these criteria that we have, plan the most epic 10th anniversary. And so this is how people are using it, right? And yeah, I think that behavior shift is becoming more and more evident every day as we walk around, and our friends, our parents are saying, yeah, I was talking to chat this morning and it recommended I do this, or chat made me a meal plan. It's like, oh yeah, it's doing everything for a lot of people. And it's handling over 1 billion prompts a day, which is so crazy. Yeah, Dr. Rana is saying this is so concerning. Very much so, especially given that ads are coming in 2026. That's the part that makes me nervous because we divulge so much. So then the targeting, I feel like, is going to be scary. Like, do you guys remember a few years ago when we were all convinced that Instagram listened to us? I still don't know what was going on. You'd like talk about a certain pair of sparkly high heels, and then you would get an ad for it. It's like, how did that happen? And now, the same direction is going with ChatGPT. It's like we're telling it everything and it's just going to know what solution and target us with exactly what we need. Okay. Keep getting ads for friend's new car. Yeah. I don't know how that happens. It's pretty crazy. Sarah says, I have a 74-year-old nutrition client who asked for a medical nutrition protocol. It wasn't wrong, but it didn't work for her. Lack of nuance. Yeah. And you know what, guys? This actually begs the conversation that I am craving more of is in a day and age where a lot of us are concerned about how AI is going to impact our job and our future and our business. I think about this every day as a marketing consultant. And I was talking to my girlfriend who's a copywriter. We're like, in 10 years, does our job as it is today exist? And I think the answer is no. Like, I'm already thinking, how do I evolve this business to keep up with the times? Not in like a fearful way, but kind of what Sarah's saying in the chat. There is such a lack of nuance. There's a lack of true connection. There's a lack of community built. There's a lack of, I think a lot of us, we still want to work with a human. Like, I know I can do nearly everything using AI, but why am I still hiring people to work with and service providers? Why am I still going to my doctor when a lot of people are actually just using chat to diagnose and then prescribe themselves? I know a girl who recently prescribed herself these hormones, which she's now ordering from somewhere else in the world because they're not available here. And it's all based on a conversation with AI. But a lot of us, we don't want that. And we don't want to live in that world. And so, and I think Carrie, you're on, you posted something that we're no longer living in the information economy, but we're transitioning into, I think you called it the connection economy. Because information's a dime a dozen. Online courses, are they worth money anymore? Because I could get that same information on chat. So yeah, how do we continue to show our value and keep up with the evolution of what's happening right now? And some people will entrust in AI and they'll fall lonely and potentially, you know, not get the true answers they need, but a lot of people will still need all of your services. I don't know who owner is, but that's very nice of you. Yeah, Danny says human connection is a universal need that AI is removing. The imbalance that this is creating is going to be destructive. Yeah, and guess what? We are all entrepreneurs because we are creating the future that we want to see in the world, right? We're doing this because we have a vision that is practically unstoppable. Otherwise, we would have quit. Otherwise, you would be working for a job right now. But instead, you're here. You feel strongly in the future that you're building for your clients. And yes, AI will disrupt it, but it's never going to take away that need for human soul-led connection. Owner is Julie Drain. I love it. Thanks, Julie. Okay. So, yeah, if anyone wants to go deeper on that, I could talk about this topic all day, and I'm still trying to work it out in my head. So maybe we start a little side chat where we just talk about like, what are we doing to evolve? Do we need to evolve? Are you caught up? I feel like there's, yeah, so much that we could do there. And yeah, Angela, you summed it up perfectly. The more the world goes AI, the more we will crave connection. I feel that for sure. After like not going to events from 2020 to 2023, I finally felt like, whoa, this is not good for my business or for my human beingness. So I returned and started creating events. Yeah. Okay. So let's get into the only two things you need to know to begin ranking on ChatGPT. And again, I just want to share very clearly that this is not like an exact formula you follow because right now nobody has that formula, but a lot of us are seeing our rankings go up on ChatGPT. There are platforms now where you can measure your AI visibility. However, a lot of them cost you upwards of $100 a month. But you can use searchable.com if you have that type of budget to invest to actually track your AI mentions and rankings, which is really, really cool. And just while I'm on that tangent, I believe that these softwares will come down in price, but it's just because they're so new. So right now, to get concrete numbers and see the concrete data, it's going to cost you a lot. But right now, you can kind of just go on a pulse check of asking each client, how did you hear about me? And, track, oh, ChatGPT, Google, word of mouth, and do your own manual tracking. Okay. So this all boils down to what's on your website and what's on your socials and what's off of your website and what's off of your social. Seems really easy when I put it that way. Like, well, duh, you just have to, make your website better and your social medias and then think about what you don't own but can have influence over. But I think a lot of people like immediately feel overwhelmed. It's like, but what do I actually do? So that's kind of what I want to talk you through today. So this two-pillar system starts with what's on your website and what's on your socials. These are things that you, as the entrepreneur or as the marketing lead of your business, you have control over these things. So ideally, everybody on this call, how many of you? All 41 of you, I would want you to have your own website. And hopefully you had somebody help you or you did the SEO, so the search engine optimization of that website. You wrote the website copy with strategic keywords. And if you're like, wait, what is a keyword? Those are just those defining words and phrases that people go to Google and type in. Mexican restaurant near me. Hormone focused naturopathic doctor in Toronto. Um, branding agency for women. And then there's, many other keywords, key phrases, like the style in which they can be written out. But these things have to be on your website. And even before they're on your website, you have to know, how do people describe my service, my industry? If I had to explain what I do and share my profession with a grade 3 or a grade 6, how would I do that? How do I clearly explain what problem I solve so that I start to show up in Google and now in ChatGPT? So, just as a silly example, I really can do full stack marketing. Like I can look at your digital strategy, your in-person strategy, your entire marketing plan, and kind of come up with a funnel that's best for you. If I never mentioned marketing strategy on my website, never mentioned marketing plans, never mentioned marketing consultant, the fact that I do a lot of work with social media, search engine optimization, email list building, website copy, Facebook, things like that, that people are probably actively saying, I need help with Instagram, or what is a marketing strategy? where can I find a marketing coach? If that was nowhere on my website, how would I ever expect to be pulled up in ChatGPT? So you better believe my website is littered with the word marketing. It's littered with the word Canada because I'm trying to dominate local geographical searches in Canada. I work with people all over the world, but for the purpose of ranking on Google, and I might shift it ever so slightly with AI engines, and I'm building out new pages. But for the purpose of, making sure that I show up for all Canadian searchers, because I live in Canada, Canada is all over my site. Toronto, I have specific pages for because that's kind of my main geographic area. I talk about all my services and make sure there's blog posts about SEO, top 10 tips for social media in 2026, things like that. Because every time I do that, I'm signaling to ChatGPT, this is my expertise. These are the things that I do. And so, a very good starting point, if you haven't taken my everyday SEO course, just DM me the word SEO on Instagram and I'll send it to you for free. But that's where I teach you how to identify your keywords. Because you can use software to, if you type in the word nutritionist, it'll tell you, well, you should also try for functional nutritionist or holistic nutritionist or nutritionist near me or Toronto nutritionist or nutritionist for women. So there's software like Ubersuggest or Google Keywords Planner or Ahrefs where it can help you discover your keywords. But once you decide which ones you want to own and win for, you have to sprinkle those all over your website and all over your social. If you are a resort in Muskoka in Ontario, those words have to be on the website homepage, on the about page, on the footer, on the header, on your Instagram bio, right? It's almost a thing that's so obvious that I think a lot of us forget about. So if you want to screenshot this page, we really want to make sure that you have website search engine optimization set up. That means every page on your site has some back-end SEO. You might have to consult the person who made your site, or feel free to shoot me a message. And I like to just remind people that being clear, not clever, is the best, right? So being clear is saying we're a family-friendly resort. Being clever would be like, gorgeous oasis that helps you come back to alignment with the ones you loved, with the ones you love. And you're a resort and you're trying to say like it's a nourishing place, but we need some keywords on there. So that's just some tips for the website. We're not going to go super deep into the technicalities of the H1 tag and H2, but again, your website person can absolutely do this for you. Or if you have a website you can update, you can check in on this yourself. And then just having content consistency and keyword consistency, both on your blogs, on your social media channels, and on YouTube or podcasts or Substack if you have them. So remember, more platforms is unfortunately better with ChatGPT, right? If you want to be the go-to person in your niche, you're probably going to want to start to prioritize having minimum 1 to 2 social media channels that are active, hopefully having either YouTube or podcast or Substack or a blog. So some long form content where you can go deep and really explain yourself and have FAQs. Otherwise, I fear that there's not enough info signaling to ChatGPT that you're the go-to person in your industry. Okay, let me click through here. So yeah, just some website essentials that I would recommend everybody add to their site: clear homepage, dedicated services pages. So for each service that you want to call out, that if somebody was like, I need a family-friendly resort or a pet-friendly resort or a wheelchair accessible resort, we want to make sure those are their own pages with photos of the wheelchair accessibility, photos of the family programs you offer. Your about page, FAQs are great. Because on FAQ pages or adding FAQs to your site, you're kind of talking how people talk to ChatGPT. Because in an FAQ, it might say, can you accommodate large parties at the Mexican restaurant? And then you answer that question on your site. And ChatGPT loves when the question, just like the user is asking it, is already written on your site. It just pulls that answer, go to this Mexican restaurant. And a helpful active blog. So blogging's not dead. Blogging's still important for signaling to ChatGPT what you're about, and communicating your expertise and authority. And just optimizing your social media. So this one, again, something that seems obvious that when I do social media bio audits, I'm like, I don't even know what you do. Does anyone feel like they're doing the clever, not clear thing? But why don't we just be clear and not clever? So this is just a sample before and after. And I use the resort example because part of this was pulled from a presentation that I did for Resorts Ontario. So yeah, I mean, what do we take away from this before and after? It's keywords, location, mentioning that you have reviews on Google and how to book and a clear website and photo. So, okay. So then, since I've shared the first pillar of the AI content visibility framework, then we have to flip gears over to what is that second pillar? So we've taken care of our own site. We've taken care of setting up a couple social medias and maybe one long form content channel like Substack or YouTube or a podcast or a blog. But we need other people to validate that we're legit, right? You can say all the nice things you want about yourself, but if nobody has ever validated your work, nobody's ever said, yeah, she's the best social media freelancer ever. Or, I worked with Kelsey and she helped me go from 10 views to 10,000 real views, Instagram Reels views. That's like a tongue twister overnight. That's really good if somebody else says that about you. So what does this look like? And this is the piece that I think a lot of us are missing. It's because we focus, there's this problem where we all get up and we think about ourselves all day. It's like, what about me? And how do people perceive me? And what can I do? But then it's like, where are the others who have platforms? And how can I get in touch with them and make a difference in their lives while also then hopefully seeing results for my business? So something that's really important is review management and reputation management. So give me a yes or a no in the chat. Are you collecting Google reviews? Yes, I am, or type no. Okay, we got no from Heather. Julie says yes. Becky says yes. Slowly, sometimes. Technically not allowed. Yeah. Tougher for naturopathic doctors. I always feel for you guys because I know getting those like case study before and afters is a little more challenging. Yeah. Okay. So some of you are in restricted professions. No, I don't have a physical location. You are still able to set up a Google My Business profile with no address. So you can do that. No, Rachel, that's a really good question. Google Alerts is different. You should set up Google Alerts for your first and last name, your business name. That'll alert you anytime there's an article about your business. So I always recommend setting up an alert. I would do an alert for Kelsey Rydell. I would do an alert for Visionary Life podcast. Maybe I would do an alert for marketing trends because I love reading those articles. Google My Business, though, is that side panel in Google that where you collect reviews, you have photos, name, phone number, website, etc. So if possible, I would encourage everyone to go update your Google My Business profile. Make sure there's an up-to-date description, make sure the phone number and website are accurate, add new photos, because that's super important when people Google you or Google image you. Make sure, yeah, I said collect reviews. So main purpose to collect reviews. So if you're somebody who works with clients or you have people coming through your facility, try and start to collect as many reviews as possible. Now, of course, you're not going to collect 100 reviews before you've worked with 100 people. Like you can't just get reviews from people who have never actually interacted. So this is a slow process. And Carrie's saying how many photos should be posted on Google. I would start with about 5. And then anytime you get updated photos, add some new ones. You can also do update posts on your Google My Business. So you can actually add like a little post. It's kind of like social media for Google My Business. And you can say, hey, we just expanded our team. Welcome to the team, Dr. Sarah, and do an update post. And maybe Sarah's an osteopath, and you say her credentials are this. So that's again signaling that, your business is worth taking a look at. So that's Google My Business updates. Of course, if you are mentioned in forums, maybe there's a forum specific to interior designers and you're being mentioned in there, try to go in and respond and collect reviews. Reddit for some of you, Facebook groups. This is just if you already have a presence there, but I know not as many people are like leaving reviews in Facebook pages and groups anymore. Collecting customer testimonials. So anywhere where somebody can share a testimonial about you. Maybe you have a profile on a platform like Psychology Today, and people can leave you reviews there. So anywhere where we can get feedback and have people contribute to the conversation that's not our own website. And, even when you do get a review, if it's in written form, always good practice to ask them to put it on Google and potentially transcribe it over to your website and make a social media graphic about it, right? Because again, more is better. Now, this one is another underutilized strategy is doing swaps and getting mentioned and having backlinks to your website. So backlinks was a term that was used especially in traditional search engine optimization, where we wanted more reputable websites to link back to your site. Now, it's not as prominent for ranking on AI search, but it's still important. And yeah, Heather, LinkedIn recommendations, thank you for bringing that up. Amazing. The more recommendations, the better, because people are saying things about you that validates what you do. So yeah, great point. So we want to do as much PR, publicity, media as we can for ourselves. And I totally recognize that you guys don't have a full-time PR person working for you. So, your time is not necessarily spent being like, hey, Globe and Mail newspaper, can I write a featured article for you? But this comes down, and I think it always starts on a very grassroots approach. So maybe there's 2 of you on this call today that have synergistic businesses. Maybe there's a naturopathic doctor and a psychotherapist. And you guys are like, hey, I feel like there's a fun little podcast swap that could happen here. And then each of you interview each other. You both put links to each other in your show notes. You do a collaborative Instagram post. That is a mention. That is another platform shouting you out that has credibility. So things like that are one of the easiest ways to get started. And the cool thing is when people see that you're doing this type of thing, oh, Heather was on a podcast, they automatically start to identify you as a speaker and as somebody who appears on podcasts. So sometimes just getting the first one under your belt is the hardest thing. So I want you to think of one person that has a platform. Maybe it's a blog, or you want to show up and teach at their workshop. Pitch them on an idea. People have often done this to me and I've said yes. They're like, hey, I would love to teach this thing, or can I come on your show and talk about this? And then I publish a show on my podcast, and maybe it's called 5 Ways to Lose Weight. And I link out to Philip and his clinic. That is really good for his business. And again, law of reciprocity. When I do something nice for you, you probably do something nice for me, right? So there's this beautiful just give and take with business that often leads to mentions on other people's content. And a lot of that comes down to networking too, right? Exactly what you guys are doing here. You're in a chat with 40 other entrepreneurs, getting out to events. And then not just saying, hey, nice to meet you, but hey, oh, that's so cool that you're blogging every single week on Substack or, creating Substacks. I would love to actually contribute on this topic. Would you ever be open to interviewing me? Or I'd actually like to feature you in my work. Can we talk about that? And then there's usually, an offer back to you. Directories. This is important too. If there's any directories you can be part of. So even like my university, which I was like the worst university student. Can't say I was star star person there, but they have an alumni directory. So anyone who graduated from the university, you can and who has a business, you can actually get in touch with their, I forget what they call it, like the entrepreneur, small business person for alumni. And I just emailed them my profile of what I do, my website, and they actually backlinked to my website, gave me a profile with a photo. And that's actually one of my top sources on Perplexity. So when I search on Perplexity, like, what do you know about Kelsey or Kelsey Rydell, as someone who knows nothing about me, it pulls from that university profile that's there and it shows me the source. So that tells me that having that signal on such a trusted website is really helpful. So, where can you kind of claim a profile or a little corner of real estate? So, I was thinking about this morning. Like, as entrepreneurs, we basically have to create something out of nothing, like opportunities out of thin air. It's like, where could I get my name mentioned? And your job is to just figure it out and figure out what's the one I can pitch or who do I have a connection to? And it's a tough job, right? Because there's no exact playbook. But if I interviewed you and asked you about your past, I'm sure there are some places that would feature you. And of course, social media mentions by others. So, really, anywhere somebody is talking about you. And this is not a comprehensive list, it's just to get you thinking of like, where are you dropping the ball? Because if you are only posting your own stuff, then you're kind of missing half of the equation, right? Okay. So that is the crash course. We might go like a few minutes over time. I know I had slotted this for about an hour, but I also want to leave time for Q&A. So just know that if you do have to go, I totally get it. Um, but if you do want to stick around, I'm going to keep chatting for a little bit. So some key takeaways. The bigger your footprint on the internet, the better your chances of ranking. And I don't even like saying this because it kind of goes against a lot of what I do with my clients because really we start small with 3 to 5 top of funnel strategies and do them really, really well. And that is enough. But if 3 feels overwhelming, like Instagram, webinars, and I don't know, having a blog, if that feels overwhelming to you, don't do it all at once, right? Because if you quit on all 3 strategies, you're never going to rank on ChatGPT. Quitting is the end of your business, essentially. So we want you to take on as much as you can reasonably without burning out. Oh, yeah. And so Christine's saying if I'm on a university website, but I don't have a backlink, yeah, if there's no clickable link to your website, I would ask them. You have to ask them to make it a hyperlink. Weird, right? I know. But hopefully they'll do that. Second piece is make sure your messaging is similar across all platforms. So, kind of going back to that wedding photographer example, like don't change the way you position yourself on every single platform. Of course, you can say different things. Like the way we chat on Instagram is different than maybe how you create captions on LinkedIn. But in the profile and in the core content that you're creating, you're usually coming down to those key messages, key phrases, key pillars. Okay. Yes, Heather, she said the 2 words that I love: clear, consistent. Yes, that to me is a dream. And sometimes it's just helpful to get another opinion on this. Ask someone who's not an entrepreneur. Be like, hey, you can be brutally honest. Feel free to roast me. When you look at my bio, is it clear what I sell? Because they probably don't even know what you sell. And see what they say. Okay. Next, ask a friend. Yeah, what I just mentioned. Ask a friend to review your online brand and see if they can identify any holes. If you don't want to prioritize ranking on ChatGPT as a marketing goal, because it's a very broad goal, right? Just know and let me reassure you that the other outputs you do will support this goal regardless. So the more you show up, the more clear and consistent you are, activating new channels when you have the bandwidth, you're going to start to see that you get more leads from AI search engines and traditional search engines. So keep showing up for the marketing that you've already committed to and be clear. And obviously, if something does not feel good, if you think you should be on Pinterest, but you're like, I don't like this platform, it's energetically draining, I'm not seeing results, like always ask yourself, like, does this feel good? And if not, we can always find a replacement platform. So there is no one size fits all marketing strategy. Anyone who tells you there is not realizing that business is very nuanced. Location of where you practice is very nuanced. The way you show up and your skills are very nuanced to your business. So there are just so many things that require custom marketing strategies. And then we look at the data, right? If you're not measuring your monthly data, your weekly data, whatever you measure, how do you make an informed decision moving forward? You can't. And the best thing that I've started doing, I just upload my spreadsheet once a month to, I use Claude and I ask it, analyze the wins that I had this month, look at my challenges and give me specific solutions. So it'll see that, say, my Instagram reach was 5,000, 8,000, 10,000 month over month over month. If you ask it to give you specific recommendations on that, it will. It'll see like, oh, this is going well, try this. So run your metrics through ChatGPT. Yeah, Philip's asking, how can you know if AI search is working for you? You can use platforms like searchable.com. These are softwares that are about $100 a month, quite expensive. Otherwise, you have to have a form that collects attribution. So where can I attribute this client to coming from? So kind of similar to how I showed you at the beginning, I have a drop-down menu when somebody books a call with me or fills out an application. They have to tell me, how did you hear about me? But there's, of course, your website backend, these new AI data trackers, etc. Okay, one thing I want to leave you all with is if you are curious what AI knows about you, I would recommend going over to perplexity.ai. A lot of you probably don't use it often, and if you do, clear your search history and go to Perplexity. It's free to sign up and just ask, what do you know about my brand? And then input your brand name. And I like using Perplexity because it gives a lot of sources. So you'll see all of the major pillar two, who's talking about you. You'll see all of the major sources that lead back to your brand. So where are you being mentioned? Or maybe you're not. So ask it, what do you know about my brand? And just see if you're happy with the results. Maybe it gets it bang on. Maybe the images, you're like, oh shit, there's no images of what I actually do. Maybe the sources that it shows are sources from a previous career, and that's hindering your ability to dominate in one industry. So that's just a little bit of homework, and this is what the results will show up as. Okay, so that is officially it for today's masterclass on how to rank on ChatGPT. I'll try to keep you guys updated through my blog and my website as things change because they always are. But yeah, let's stay connected. There's my Instagram and my website. And now I will just open it up to questions. So feel free to stick around if you have time. I know you're all busy bees and you have clients and people, and you now have a million marketing tasks to get to. Maybe you need lunch or to get back to your Remembrance Day celebrations. But yeah, feel free to just share what's one takeaway. What's one thing you're actually going to implement? I'll hold you accountable. You're welcome. Oh no. Leanne says searching for my company on Perplexity was depressing. And Leanne, only way to go up, or the only way to go from here is up. I combined all that. Uh, so let's just, start with your website, start with your social channels, and we'll make sure that gets better and better. So yeah, what are you guys taking away? What's your aha moment? How do you get the course? Yeah, Tova, just message me on Instagram. Just say you want the SEO course, or you can email me. Leanne says, clearly I have work to do. Yes. Any other takeaways besides that I just gave you a to-do list the size of your head? And you know what I would say is it takes time to become the go-to in your industry. So if you're newer to business, be patient, keep showing up every day and creating content. Julie says, I'm going to look at my website tracking to see how guests are finding us. Awesome. I love doing that. Margot says, building across more platforms. Yeah. Yeah. And, one day maybe passing some of this off to a virtual assistant or use AI to create one piece of content and remix it into 7 others. So it takes no more time than creating one versus 7. Heather says, I'm going back to everyday SEO as I have lots to do here. Yeah, especially, Heather, with your new website and trying to get things updated. It's a great time to look at it all. Joseph says, need to start doing YouTube. Awesome. Yeah. YouTube is great. It's connected to Google, so it really helps with your Google rankings. Lauren says, guest blogging, podcasts, and reviews. Awesome. Yeah, I want you, Lauren, to pitch 2 guest blogs or podcasts in the next week. Maybe you have friends who have podcasts. That's an easy one. Ginny says, I don't have a website. Yep, Ginny, you might want to get one started. You can hire a freelancer anywhere between $100 and $10,000 to build a good site. Got the variety these days. Okay. I'll take questions. If anyone has one, you can just type the word question in the chat or type the whole question. Open forum. I hope this was helpful. I know it's a lot for an hour, and without actually like sitting down and building things out, it can feel like, whoa. But I think it also reassures you that you're already doing a lot of the right things. So hopefully I can just demystify the fact that, as long as you're showing up and creating consistently, and being clear with your keywords, you are going to start seeing the results. Okay, so let's start with Tova, and then we'll go to Julie. So Tova, do you want to just unmute yourself?
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
Sorry, I might be a little slow. I have a concussion, so I'm a little foggy. But um, SEO of ChatGPT, if you put into ChatGPT like an example of like find tutors near me,
Yep.
on your own ChatGPT, I find that it's learned like who I am. So it's
Yes.
not showing up. It's more like, would you like to connect with this place? Is it better to go on to like a non-ChatGPT that's your own to figure out what's showing up?
Yes, that is such a good question. And I would 100% because you're kind of doing market research for yourself and your
Yeah.
business, right?
Yeah.
So I would actually go on Perplexity and do that search. I would go on Claude and do that search. I would go on Gemini and do that search. And I would go on ChatGPT and just start to pull what each of them are saying. Because remember, they're all looking at different sources, weighing
Mhm.
out the sources differently. So I would do that, and most have a free starter trial or beginner platform or beginner plan you can use.
Okay,
The
great.
other thing, and I don't know, I would ask the group this because I don't use ChatGPT anymore. I only use Claude for the most part. Can you clear all of your ChatGPT history and ask it to do, yeah, I think Margot's nodding yes. So like clear your history, Tova, and be like, okay, starting fresh, pretend you know nothing about my business, and hopefully you've cleared everything. Who are the best tutors near me?
Okay, great, thank you. Or maybe
You're
I'll go on to
welcome.
my husband's ChatGPT.
Yeah, there you go. So use someone else's who has not been in there talking
Yeah,
about tutoring and
yeah.
competitors. Yeah, great question. Uh, Unfortunately, I did hear in the podcast that I was listening to the other day that even when you clear your ChatGPT history, ChatGPT still keeps it all for themselves. So again, for the ads that they're going to run to you, anything we put in there is fair game. Scary. Julie.
There we go. Hi, gals.
Hi.
Hi. I have a question that might lead into two, but should businesses have a Chat GPT or possibly Claude account?
Oh, what do you mean by that? Like instead of Julie having an
Yeah,
account, should
exactly.
your
Should a business have an account? Is that coming?
wait, I don't know if I understand. So do you mean you should start one for the resort for all your team members to use?
That's what I'm wondering. I just didn't know because businesses will have their own business Instagram, they'll have their own business LinkedIn. I didn't know
Yeah.
if that's going to be coming if a business actually has to have a chat or Claude or another AI account.
No, I think if I'm understanding your question properly, you don't need to like set up a resort specific ChatGPT account.
Thank
What you
goodness.
just want to do, thinking as the business owner, you're looking at what's on your site and socials, what's off your site and socials, and letting ChatGPT do the rest. So you can still use your personal ChatGPT account. That does not affect how your resort shows up. So no, you don't need that.
Thank you. Phew.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you, if I know, because that would just be a lot to juggle. Did you have a second part of that question, or that was?
Actually, this really only applies to my industry for resorts. We don't have a LinkedIn account or page, should we?
Yes. Yeah, I would
Okay.
just set up a LinkedIn business. You're probably not going to post to it very often, but 100% just set up the LinkedIn business profile with photo, Pine Vista Resort, name, phone number. Here's how you contact us. We're family friendly. We have activities. There's no harm in at least having that because that's going to be one source that ChatGPT pulls from. It'll take you
Okay.
10 minutes to set up.
That's great. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, Margot.
Do you know how Pinterest plays into all of this?
Absolutely. It plays a huge role. So, kind of the pillar one, what's on your site and socials. So, I would kind of consider that a social media platform, even though it's also a search engine, but it's going to be an important signal as well. Same way that Instagram would be, same way that LinkedIn would be. So, if you have a Pinterest account and it's Margot, hormone focused ND or energy focused ND, and then there's a description, there's a link to your website all validating that who you are and what you do is legitimate. And then you're pinning things that are specific to the medicine that you offer to clients, the tips that you talk about. So it's pulling those content themes and saying, yep, she is definitely an authority in this space. So it can only help you.
Yeah, and I would assume it would also just help the back end links because you can like link your own website,
Absolutely.
blog links, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I don't exactly know. So when people are repinning your custom content on Pinterest, I don't know how that signals to an AI engine that, wow, people are repinning her stuff. That's really,
Mhm.
really good. I can't tell you what results that plays, but again, it's not going to hinder your performance on ChatGPT.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was on like my business Pinterest, which I hadn't been for a while, and it like
Yeah.
linked my social media and it literally put every single social like Instagram post onto Pinterest automatically
Really?
for me. Yeah,
Okay.
so I have like
Yeah.
122 pins of like whatever my content is, right?
Yep.
So
And is it exact duplicate content?
I think so. I didn't go in
Okay.
and like check it, but I'm sure you could change the caption or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't know because I've heard before that like just having duplicate content all over the internet, like if I had an Instagram and I pasted it on LinkedIn, then I pasted it on my website and then I pasted it over here. I
Mhm.
don't know if that is a negative against like a negative signal to the algorithm. I think they don't like duplicates, especially with traditional search engines.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would just consider like can you edit the
Go in
content
and edit it.
different?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, good question. Ginny.
Hi, Kelsey. Thanks for taking my
Hey,
question.
yeah,
Hi.
of course.
I guess the question is because I said I don't have a website.
Mhm.
And like first of all, thank you for all this because I'm really learning a lot. Like I just realized that messaging is extremely important.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I did the perplexity. I'm like, oh my God, this is so wrong. What
Oh
is
no.
so I'm like,
Okay.
oh God. Yeah. So thank you for that. And I guess when you had said that you could hire somebody to help you with a website, like anywhere from $100 to $10,000, right? Yeah, I
Mhm.
could see that. But for someone who's just starting out and sort of getting like, is it worth like just doing a simple one where you do it on your own, or is it worth sort of hiring
Mhm.
one to sort of help with the messaging and the branding aspect? I guess that's my question. Yeah.
Yeah, great question. I think it really depends on your budget. If you're kind of working on more of a starter grassroots budget, which I think many of us in the earlier days were kind of like, I just don't have like $40,000 to be throwing into the wind.
Yeah,
I wish, right? I
yeah,
love throwing
exactly.
money in the wind, but it's not always the reality.
Yeah.
Um, I would just start so basic. Like I always help my clients build on Squarespace
Oh,
because then they can do it all themselves. You can't mess it up. It looks good. You can edit it, you can build it out to become more of a custom, and you can add templates on top of it. But you could also just start a homepage, about page, services, and contact.
okay.
And so Squarespace is a wonderful platform. It's the one I recommend, but I'm sure people here use Wix, they use WordPress template, they use Kajabi. GoDaddy now has an AI website builder, and you can hire someone off of Fiverr.com to build it for $100.
Fiverr. That's, oh my God, I'm so unknowledgeable. That's F-I or F-E.
Yeah, Fiverr.com. And
Okay.
then you can search and like find someone in the US or in Canada who builds Squarespace websites in
Yeah,
case
I'm
you
in
don't want to
Canada.
outsource it
Okay.
abroad.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
that's a good starter option and it'll be just enough.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then you can always upgrade when you're making millions each year, then go hire a fancy website developer who builds you something extravagant, right? Yeah, and Leanne says Google Sites is an option. Heather says the perplexity search is wild and informative. Yes, some accurate and some not. Oh, yeah, interesting. Plus, I'm discovering that I'm showing up on sites I didn't know I was. Yeah, that's one of the interesting things is like we all have these backlinks that we're like, what? When did that happen? I'm glad you guys are using Perplexity to do that. That's really cool. Um, Huva says, thank you. I rebranded, so I will go back and review the notes I gave you a while ago. Awesome. Yeah, thanks for being here, Ahuva. Tova says, I did a website by myself at first and then worked with what seemed like somebody cheap, and it was not a good thing. Then I hired somebody for not much money who was a real professional on WordPress. Amazing. Yeah, that's so it's hard, right? Because like you got to find someone you trust to do the job that you need fulfilled. If you are with Bell in Canada, I got a free year subscription for Perplexity Pro. That's fascinating. Yeah, I had no idea that Bell was offering AI subscriptions, but that's amazing. Cool. Anyone else have questions, concerns?
Sorry, yes, Olga.
Yeah.
I will.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I don't know why it says user. I don't
Oh,
know.
that's okay. I know who you are.
So I have a question. Yes, like my son is making a website for me
Okay, cool.
there. Yes, and he said, "Oh, I need some review." And he said, "I was doing a few workshops, in-person workshops of baking sourdough bread. Like
Awesome.
I'm a holistic nutritionist, so
Yes.
and people left me review on the book, like I have like oh leave written reviews there, right?
Amazing.
So can I use now this review and put it on
Yep.
my website?
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. So you got reviews right after your sourdough workshop. That's great. Now I want your son to write them out on the testimonials or reviews page of your site. So just, copy it out, put their name beside
Oh,
it if they're comfortable with you using their name, maybe a photo of them if they'll send you that. But that's a great way to repurpose
oh,
those.
because that's what I thought. Like because when they left the review, I didn't tell them that that may go to the website because I didn't have a website back then.
Totally. You may want to verify with them that they're comfortable with that since they didn't necessarily agree to it. So maybe just check in if you can. But Really, if they came to your workshop, I'm sure they're happy to have that review, or maybe just don't share their full name, just share initials beside it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank
you're
you.
so welcome.
Mhm.
Lauren says, do you mind speaking quickly to why you use Claude over ChatGPT? Yeah, I don't have specifics. I just I worked with someone to help me build an AI database, and his recommendation was Claude for everything that I do to set up projects, but I honestly feel like they're probably so similar in the end. I also enjoy using the Claude platform. It's user friendly, but so is ChatGPT, so yeah, don't have anything too valuable to share there, unfortunately. Cool. All right, well, we'll wrap it here. Thanks, guys. That was a fun hour and a bit. Hope you have a lovely Remembrance Day. And if anyone has questions, just shoot me a note. You guys know where to find me, and always happy to chat on this topic. So thanks for joining, and we will all stay in touch. And yeah, hit me with the questions as they come up. Cool. Bye, everybody. Thanks again.